Welcome back to episode 10 of the Bull North Sports Podcast. Today we are recapping the Vikings versus Chargers game today. It was I'd like to say, and excuse my French here, but it was a shit show from the start. The Vikings have lost now. They've had 8 turnovers in 3 games. It's not ideal, Ev. Hawkinson started off the game with a fumble on our side of the field. It just hasn't been good.
I was just going to add, the first thing I was going to say, sorry to Chad and Jason, but the no swearing podcast might have to come to an end relatively soon because this team just pisses me off every single week. And I really don't know what else to say except for the team we root for is terrible. They're not good. I'm sorry. They have so many questions to answer. There's so much they have to do. This team is not a Super Bowl contender. It's terrible. We're seeing all the flaws of this team through 3 weeks. It's bad. It's really bad. It didn't really show like. The first 2 weeks, they kind of kept it together for the most part. But this week right here, the turnovers, the inconsistency from the offensive line, just everything except for Kirko. Kirko is balling out. Everybody hates on Kirk, but Kirko is putting up MVP numbers. It's insane. It's the bottom 5 offensive line.
Yeah, let's address the elephant in the room here. The offensive line is horrible. Okay, Brian O'Neill was the best PFF graded offensive tackle coming into this game, and Joey Bosa got the best of him today. It was just not good. Kirk was pressured a lot. He was hit a lot, sacked a few times. The offensive line is horrible and carried from one GM to the other with Spielman on Kwesi. It just doesn't seem like that the trenches are as big as a need as they think that. That they don't need the trenches at all. You look at teams like Philadelphia who have great trenches on both sides as far as the offensive line and the defensive line, and you wonder why they can run the ball so well. A lot of our rushing inconsistencies have nothing to do with Alexander Mattison, and more. I mean, it can go both ways.
Madison has terrible vision. I will add that Madison's vision is awful.
His vision is not great.
It is terrible.
But sometimes there just isn't any holes that are open. And
I will add. I'm sorry I cut you off, but I like that you added the defensive line because the defensive line it just isn't. Dean Lowry is not good. I'm sorry. He's terrible.
He's not a starter at all. I was talking to my dad about this too because I didn't really know much about. I knew Dean Lowry, but I didn't really know how well he was.
He's just a fat white guy. That's all he is. There's nothing else to say. He can't do anything. Right? Yeah. He has 2 tackles maybe.
Yeah, he hasn't done
3 games. He hasn't done anything.
I was talking with him, and he said he's mainly just a rotational piece kind of guy, and he will not be a 3-down starter like you want him to be.
Well, he is a 3-down starter right now.
I know, but TJ. Oh my gosh. Sorry, we're watching the Sunday night game right now. Yeah, in both. I mean, I'm using the word trenches a lot, but I mean it's simply just. Oh my God, Jimmy is hurt.
Down.
Jesus. In both the
Jared Stidham.
In both the trenches, it's god awful. It's horrible. I mean, Harrison Phillips can only do so much, and even then, I don't think he's not even a premier player either.
He's not good.
Jonathan Bullard, isn't it? Daniil has 5 sacks on the season.
He hasn't done anything, though. I mean, he has 5 sacks, but it's the Philly game. They were running at him. Why are you running? If he's such a premier, he's getting paid as a premier edge, then why is the other team being able to run at him? Like, directly at him on his side, and DeAndre Swift got right past him with ease. Like, how does that happen if he's such a premier edge guy? He's supposed to be, like, an awesome player on your defense, and he has 5 sacks, but that's just, it's stats.
Yeah. I mean, we can focus on the defense here.
No, first. I want to go back to the trenches, because the trenches, we could sit here and talk about the trenches forever. Because what I've noticed is so every good team has good offense and defensive trenches, like the Eagles, like you mentioned earlier, the Niners. Every good team has a good offensive line and a good defensive line. And every GM, Rick and Quasey, have built their teams backwards. Because you have a premier receiver, two premier receivers, because Addison is really good. You have two premium receivers. You have a premium tight end. You have a premium quarterback. The running back, you don't, in the league now, you don't need a workhorse Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry type of back. And the offensive line and defensive line is terrible. So what you have to do to be a good team is it starts with the offensive line. You have to add to your offensive line via the draft, free agency, and defensive line. I know in the draft in April, when you're picking where you are, it's not the sexy pick to pick a center or a guard. It's the sexy pick to pick a cornerback or a wide receiver or a safety or a linebacker, somebody that impacts your team. Right now, the Vikings are a good interior O-line away from being a Super Bowl caliber team. Because if you can give Kirk time, Kirk will pick apart defenses. Kirk has shown in his 5 years that he's been here, and he's had a below 5 offensive line every single year, and he's still putting up numbers. And you have to rebuild your team around the offensive line. Because you can have okay receivers, but if your quarterback has time to throw to the okay receivers, they'll be better than they really are.
Yeah.
It's you're building your team backwards. Whoever the next GM is just has to come in here and every draft build up your offensive line. Re-sign guys that help your offensive line. Like Dalton Risner. He should have been signed in July. I don't know why we waited this Ed Ingram experiment is horrible. Why is he still starting?
Yeah.
And Ezra Cleveland isn't even better. And Bradbury's been hurt. It's not like Bradbury's a world Jason Kelsey type center. Bradbury's an average center at best. So you sit here with the bottom 5 offensive line, with everybody else. Your offense, if you had a good offensive line, offense would be the best offense in football. Other than Miami, because Miami speed kills, and that's showing everywhere. They just dropped a 70-piece today. But even on the defensive line, as much as I love Addison, why didn't you look? They should have looked into Kalijah Cansey, the kid from Pittsburgh, just to help that interior defensive line. Because right now, you're running out, like we said earlier, Dean Lowry and Harrison Phillips. Both of those guys are fat white guys that don't do anything else. I'm sorry, but that's all they are. They're not putting any pressure. We blitzed all day today, and Herbert didn't get touched once. He got sacked one time. Good play by Hunter on the sack, but other than that, he was just picking apart our defenses because we're blitzing every play.
Yeah.
If you had a Jalen Carter or a Chris Jones in the middle to apply the pressure, it'd be a completely different story.
Yeah, what I didn't get about that was Flores was sending 6-7 people and then having his corners play off, and so all they had to do was just run a slant, and it's a first down. I didn't understand that at all. I was really upset with how Flores really attacked everything today. Obviously, Keenan Allen had a huge day, 215 yards on 18 catches. Mike Williams, before he got hurt,
That doesn't look good.
No, it didn't look good at all. You gave up too much today. You knew the Chargers were going to come out with everything that they have. You see the difference between a team that came out with everything that they had and like their season was on the line, and then you also had a team that came out that was playing scared, and obviously you saw who won. I'm not saying that the Chargers have a good line by any means, but they do a really good job of getting the ball out.
Herbert needs 2 seconds, not even, to throw the ball out, and he's just torching us. I don't get if you're going to blitz every play, and you're, like you said, playing your guys 8 yards off the ball. What is that going to do? If you get 6 plays every yard, you'll walk right down the field and score every single time.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
So that's what I didn't understand. As far as the offense, not even targeting JJ 5-6 minutes into the game was horrible. I get it that you want to emphasize the run, and it did work.
It's pity. It's pity to, all week talk about the run and all this and that, and then just give me it. Just keep giving it to Madison. Throw the ball. You're a throwing team. Yeah. Your identity is throwing it to the best receiver in football, and have Addison develop. Don't just be like, oh, we need to run the ball more efficiently, and then just make it so noticeable that you're going to run. I didn't like that either. Like, throw the ball to Jefferson. Get Jefferson and Addison involved in the game right from the jump. You get Hawkinson involved right from the jump. Don't wait and run the ball 4 plays and then throw the ball. Don't do that. You're a throwing team. Throw the ball.
I believe it was our second or third possession where Jefferson finally had 2 catches
50
and
yards.
50 yards immediately. Addison didn't get a catch until the third quarter.
But I think in the third quarter, Kirk started to trust Addison.
Yeah.
And that's where Addison started. You
Sure.
could see where Addison,
He was fired up.
why the first round pick he was.
But-
I love the Addison pick, but back to what we said before. Was a need at receiver really that great?
Look at KJ Osborne.
I understand that, but what if we got a guard or we picked a center and that center gives Kirk the extra half a second to throw the ball? Does KJ have a better year? It's so, like, we could sit here for the whole time we talk on this podcast and talk about how bad our offensive line is.
Yeah.
I mean, Dalton Risner, if he doesn't start next week, it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's literally a joke on Quasey's part. And I just don't understand it, why we took so long to sign him. And it's not even like we're bagging on Ed Ingram. It's not like Ezra Cleveland's awesome either. Ezra Cleveland's not good either.
Yeah, he isn't. I mean, he's gotten a teensy bit better, but hasn't taken the big leap like he should. And
We have two awesome tackles. Awesome tackles. I take the tackles over 90% of the tackles in the league, but our interior offensive line is so bad. The good tackles don't even do anything. Like O'Neal had one bad game. You think the rest of the offensive line could pick him up and help him? Because every other game he's solid. Darisaw, when he's healthy, is solid.
yeah,
It's just, you think one time when O'Neal or Darisaw has an off game, the interior could help so Kirk could step up in the pocket and throw the ball. But that's never the case. It's just the offensive line is so bad.
it just baffles me that Kwesi decided, and maybe it was within the coaches too, but they decided to keep the continuity of the team, even though that they knew that Kirk Cousins was the most hit quarterback last year and probably in the top 5 for sacks as well. It really pissed me off. I love it that we signed Risner, or Reisner, sorry.
It's
but
Risner.
It's Reisner. I think he said in an interview, it's Reisner.
He said it's not Risner. Well,
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't know. Either way,
Still, he's a below. He'll watch him be a below offensive lineman and just piss us off even more.
he's got to play.
I'm just done, dude.
Ed Ingram is just
He's horrible.
He's horrible.
He's terrible. You can't. He's a 4th round rookie that we should have taken in the 4th round. We took him in the 2nd round. Kwesi is a horrible drafter. Horrible.
Yeah.
You see what Kyle Hamilton did today?
He had a sack.
Two
Two sacks, yeah.
Yep. We passed on him, and then we took Lewis Cine. Look what
Wasn't
Lewis
even-
Cine has done. Theo Jackson's playing over him.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
So, oh yeah.
Andrew Booth Jr. Where was he at today? Oh yeah, he didn't play.
Bryson, you want to toss me that jersey?
I'm sorry, Brian Asamoah. Where the hell was he at today? Don't even put this on.
Where are you? Where are you?
Pace is too good though.
I mean,
it should be Hicks that goes
I
out.
know
Look, Hicks played good today.
Yeah, Hicks forced a fumble today. Yeah.
The one turnover we got, we actually can get turnovers on defense. I didn't know we could do that.
I didn't
All
know-
I know is us
I didn't-
turning the ball over.
I didn't know we could recover fumbles. I didn't know the other team could fumble. I thought it was only us that could do that.
It's so, we could sit here. Like I said, I mean, what else do you want to talk about other than our below average offensive line
Well,
and our below
I think-
average defense?
I think
The
Kevin
defensive
O'Connell's
line.
play calling is absolutely
terrible.
horrible. 3rd and short seems to be his kryptonite because when he's running the ball all game, he's like, well, let's go for a 20-yard completion on 3rd and 3, even though we want to stick and try to establish this run game early on, and Kirk overthrows Justin, which I'll take Justin Jefferson one-on-one with anybody.
I just say this. I know this is hypothetical. This isn't really true to any extent. Why on 2nd or 3rd and 3 do you not have Addison and Jefferson just run slants?
I know.
Are slants just not available?
Yeah, I don't think we know
Can we
what-
not call a slant? Because I think Jefferson and Addison on a slant, I'd take Jefferson on a slant 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And Addison, once he gets Kirk's trust more, we've seen it more today. I would take that too.
I think that when you have 10 days to prepare,
And you just lay a goose egg.
10 days to prepare.
Oh, Little Wayne.
And you know that the Chargers have the worst passing defense in the NFL, and you come out running the ball.
And Derwin James got hurt, too. I mean, come on.
You come out running the ball against the 32nd worst passing defense in the NFL.
We have to be 30.
And you have...
Right? We have to be 30.
We're close. And you have Jefferson, and you have Addison, and you have KJ, and you have Hawkinson. How do you lose? How do you lose when you're going against a team like that? How do you not target the best receiver in the NFL after the first possession? How do you not look to get him the ball right away? And instead, I know what happened to Madison. I get it. But it's not working out. It's just not working out.
That's why you traded for Cam Akers. I love the Cam Akers trade. If you want to get into that.
Whether it's the Lions' fault or his fault, it's a combination of both. And you cannot just let Jefferson sit off to the side and not get any attention whatsoever.
I mean, it's not, for me, it's not so much like not getting him the ball for the first two series or whatever. It's just like, even if you're in the 12 or 13 personnel where you have 2 or 3 tight ends, throw a little dink and dunk to TJ or Josh Oliver or Johnny Munn. Don't just come out here after you said it all week that you're going to run the ball and then just nonchalantly the first 4 plays that are on the sheet, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Like, come on. Like, they're going to know to come up. And you can't, like, it wasn't even like a toss or like a stretch run. It was right up the middle in between your horrible offensive line.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to run the ball, why don't you run like an outside zone or something to where tackles so we're actually capable of blocking the person in front of them?
Run underneath Josh Oliver. He's the best blocking tight end in the league. Yeah. And why you're not running at him? You're running in between the guards. Like, what does that do?
I'm sorry, but running behind Austin Schlottman's ass is not going to do anything, nor Ed Ingram's, because he'll probably step on your cleat or punch the ball out of your goddamn hand because it was an accident or whatever. I don't know what it is with him. I don't know what it is with Ezra, and I don't know. Schlottman, I don't know. I know he's a backup.
Schlottman, is there that big a difference between Schlottman and Bradbury?
Probably not.
I mean, honestly, though, we paid Bradbury $6 million a year to be an okay center.
Yeah.
I mean, John Michael Schmitz, we could have traded in the second round and took him. Even though he's a golfer, I don't care. He's probably better than Bradbury.
Probably. He's doing well with the Giants.
You just sit here. You can sit here, and every single time there's a good player that, oh, yeah, we passed on him, by the way. Good guard. That Tyler Linderbaum, we could have taken him over Lewis Seen. He's a good center. Creed Humphrey, we could have taken him. We didn't want to. Just because we had to take a corner that doesn't play, Andrew Booth Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb Evans, great. Catch the ball, Caleb Evans.
Catch the ball.
Catch the ball, we win the
horrible.
game. I mean, it's so, you can go back, it sucks, but Kwesi is sold. Yeah. On every, key thing of everything, he's sold. Now he's this last week, he's just running in his own tracks. We needed a new running back in the offseason. We shouldn't have really had Madison be the lead back. She go get Cam Akers, which I love. That Cam Akers trade is, we got him for free. Mm-hmm. He's a 24-year-old running back. The worst he can do is be like Madison. I mean, if Cam Akers has any sort of vision, he'll be the starting running back in no time.
Yeah.
In no time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was one run today where Madison was he ran up the center. Granted, it was a 9-yard run. But, did you see that play, what I'm talking about? He ran right in between the guards. When if he would have went outside by Darisaw, he would have been free for 20 yards. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how do you not see that? Mm-hmm. You just have to look to your left and you see the big hole. How do you not? You're an NFL running back. How do you just not see it?
Yeah. Back to KO's play calling. You were at the goal. You were first and goal 3 times throughout the game. 3 times.
One time.
3 times throughout the game. You were at the 3, 4, and I believe the 7-yard line. And you just you get 3 points. Out of all 3 of those drives, you get 3 points. And with an offense that we have, I just cannot believe the mediocrity that we put up. And hey kitty. And I think that KO, I don't get it with him sometimes. He's supposed to be this mastermind guy who came from the McVay system, who also came from the Shanahan system, and I don't have much faith in him.
I think the honeymoon stage is officially over.
Yeah. All this talk. O'Connell, yeah, he's a great guy. Leadership guy, you know. We'll work on it every week. We'll work on it. But like it's not cutting me. It's not like
If you look into it, I'm sorry to cut you off, but if you look into it, last year we won 13 games. Those were Rick's guys.
Yeah.
These aren't Quasey's guys. I know it's a little off, but you just talked about like him being in general. Last year's team was the back end of Rick's team.
Yeah.
Quasey didn't have any impact on that. If Quasey would have hit on all those draft picks last year, could have been a lot better last year. Think about it.
Yeah.
But he didn't hit on any of them.
Well, I think that like with him and Quasey, right? They're very elegant, well-spoken guys. Quasey's the one that talks a bunch about nothing when addressed with important questions. Kevin O'Connell's the kind of guy that, you know, everything is sunshine and rainbows.
You just know that, like, it's so hard for me now because you just know they're lying. Like, after the game today, Kevin O'Connell was like, well, I've been on a Super Bowl team that's lost 3 games in a row and we've still won. You didn't start 0-3. You didn't not show up for the first.
That's completely different than losing 3 games in the middle of a season.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, if we went out right now, in 2 months, we could be sitting here like, I don't know how we've done it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen.
No, it doesn't look good at all. And, like, thanks for the spark of hope. I really appreciate it, you know?
Winning solves a lot of problems. And I think we're starting to realize, like, the close games last year, if we would have lost more of them, we would have realized more of this last year.
Mm-hmm.
But last year, we won every game, and KO's play calling was probably the same. We just were winning those games, so it's a lot different than it is now. Because when you're calling the same thing and you're losing sucks a lot more than winning does. So it's like all of this probably could have been put together last year if you would have lost 3 or 4 of those one-score games. Now, if you think about it, since the Giants Christmas Eve game last year, they're 1-5, and the one win is against the backup Bears with our backups.
Yeah.
So it's terrible. It's fading. I mean, Quasey has to be on the hot seat right now.
Yeah.
Not so much KO because KO last year was good, but I mean next year, KO's got to be on the hot seat. It's not too early because Quasey's had 2 drafts now, and both of them, it's like, other than the Addison pick, which Kevin O'Connell was banging on the table to take, Quasey hasn't done anything.
No.
Like UDFA, Ivan Pace has been good, but Brian Asamoah, we were so high on him going into the year. Where the hell has he been?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is Jordan Hicks getting trotted out there? Like, let the 2 young guns go, and we just learn.
Why is Theo Jackson playing over Lewis Seen?
I just don't get it.
You know?
It's so frustrating to sit here. It's 3 games. You can easily be 3-0 right now. Easily.
Yeah.
If you have 4 turnovers through 3 games, you're 3-0. And it's not even like the Jefferson turnover. That's stupid. That rule is terrible.
The rule is dumb.
He's going in the end zone. It's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Give us a touchdown. It's 14-3 at halftime, or 13. Completely different game.
Yep.
The Bucs game, you let Baker Mayfield beat you. It's just Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. He torched you today.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason with that is because Brian Flores is blitzing and stuff, and his defense isn't very good. The guys he has on his defense isn't very good.
No.
Like, we touched on it before. Harrison Smith, I love him to death. Greatest Viking safety other than probably Paul Cruz to play in purple. He's lost a step. It sucks, but it's other than that. Byron Murphy, he's our number 1 corner. He's not a number 1 corner on a good team. I hate to say it. Caleb Evans isn't a starting cornerback on a good team.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fill, guys. It's just fill to get a team to think you're competitive.
Yeah.
When your offense should take the cake, but it hasn't. They can't hold on to the ball. Hawkinson, you pay him all this money. First drive of the game, he fumbles.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you can't make this stuff up. You literally can't.
No.
I should just start watching the WNBA and not watching football anymore.
Yeah.
It's literally terrible.
Look, at the end of the game here, right? We get a first down, and what I think was the worst possible decision ever of the game.
Well, if you look, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the last 30 seconds, right?
Yes.
Okay, in August, why are you not telling Kirk and everybody on the team that when we're in this situation, you clock the ball every single time? It shouldn't be a question.
Yeah.
If you look, T.J. Hockenson gets up and he's just like, oh, what do we do now? What do we do now?
Everybody was like that.
What do we do now? The offensive line's standing back there, and Kirk's the only one he's like, oh, light bulb, yeah, we're losing, and we have the ball, and the clock's running. We should probably go.
I'm sorry, but Kirk is the first 35-year-old quarterback that I've ever seen that I'm like, he could count as a rookie in his mentality. Because you have been 12 years in this league, and you do not walk up to the line with 20 seconds to go and not think, oh shit,
but
maybe I should clock it.
It's on Kirk and Kale.
It's both.
Because Kale has to tell him, like, when we get in this situation, you clock the ball every time, and then we can have 40 seconds to regroup, sub, get everybody in there we want, but we don't do that.
Yeah, Kale tried to say, we're going to try to sneak a play in. What play did you sneak in?
And then they blame it on the crowd. That's pathetic.
It's a first down. How do you not get excited over that?
That's a pathetic excuse to sit there.
Like, you couldn't hear anything? Spike the damn ball. You don't need to hear anything to do that. You got 20 seconds. You got approximate. It's 4 down territory. So you spike the ball. You get second, third, and fourth down to make a play.
Just throw in the end zone, and the clock doesn't. The clock stops on an incompletion or a touchdown.
It's just horrible. I mean, it was just absolutely. The clock management and the game management was absolutely horseshit.
It's been all year. It's not just this game. It's just this game. I think a lot more problems came out where you're like, wow, like how is this? How did this team win 14 or 13 games last year?
Yeah, it's wounds that finally surfaced, and that it all comes together, and you see it, and it pisses you off. And I'm sorry. Now, Kirk has been playing well this year, and he's been playing extremely well. He's already over 1,000 yards. He leads the league in passing yards.
Tua might be in first.
No, Kirk's in first. But I think I'm sorry, and I'm not the one to say to tank at all. Until we get eliminated from postseason contention is where I'm gonna say that we can be, tanking for anybody. But
no, you don't. You don't tank.
No, you don't.
You wait all year. We wait all year for this. You don't tank. You're in a terrible division. The NFC North is terrible.
It's still wide open.
The Packers aren't good. The Lions aren't good. I don't know where all this Lions hype came from. They're not good. I mean, you're 2 games out and with 14 games to go, 13 games to go. You can't just pack it in now.
No, you can't.
I mean, go out there, beat the Panthers, beat the crap out of the Panthers. Use that as a get-right game. Come home, beat Patrick Mahomes on national television. Beat him.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we tank, but I'm saying that if it ever got to the point where you get eliminated from the playoffs, you might want to consider looking to the future. And it's not because Kirk is playing bad.
Trade Kirk, you get a first-round pick.
It's not because Kirk is playing bad.
Kirk's not the problem.
Kirk is 35. He's in his final year of his contract, and the Vikings will just not be able to afford him. It's just how it is.
He's playing himself into a contract that the Vikings can't afford.
I know, which is unfortunate.
And so is Jefferson.
It sucks. Yeah.
I mean, so is Jefferson.
That's another quiz you mess up.
Like, how are you letting him? I mean, you let T.J. Hockenson. I love T.J. Hockenson, but you let him come in here and cry for a new contract when Jefferson is your homegrown superstar, greatest receiver maybe of all time, and he's only in his 3rd year.
Yeah. And all you do,
I need a water or something,
is you just let him run right into the season where the dude's on pace for 2,500 yards.
Yeah, and you were questioning the 2K at the beginning of the year. Now it's like, oh, he's because 13.
I thought he'd get doubled but he's not.
He can't because Addison's here.
Yeah.
I mean, all due respect to Thielen. Thielen's not the guy he used to be, but Addison, like I said earlier, he's gonna create space.
Yeah.
And Hawkinson's gonna create space.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Jefferson might go for 3,000 yards. You don't know. You literally don't know.
You don't know, especially the way Kirk's been playing.
Ability.
Just think if they gave him more time.
An offensive line. And I was going to say, we kind of brushed off the offensive line, but I'm going to go back. So the continuity, the whole thing was like bringing everybody back on the offensive line. But you didn't do that with Thielen, Kendricks, all those guys. So why did you have to redo that with the offensive line?
Yeah. I mean, well, the thing with Thielen and Kent, and they're getting older, that's the thing.
I know that, but the offensive line is terrible.
Well, they thought that, they could get better, in which they didn't. Spoiler alert, by the way.
God, he made that.
the offensive line that you had last year, who had Kirk get hit the most amount of
You
times.
see that if Kwesi and KO watched the quarterback documentary, they would have called the Patriots, or not the Patriots, but the Chiefs, and been like, "We'll give you our next 10 first-round picks for Creed Humphrey and Joe Tooney right now." Like, how did you, like, even if you watched an episode of that, you would sit here and I'm like, holy cow, he's getting banged after
I didn't
banged
realize
up.
it then, but after watching that, I felt bad for Kirk. He caught every Monday. Probably felt like he just got hit by 3 cars in the same day. Like, it was just, it's horrible. I feel bad for the guy.
Bills game, the Patriots game, every game he got hit, and it's the same thing this year. I mean, it's just terrible. I might need a Gatorade. My voice is like gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My voice is gone.
Yeah, it's just.
I literally don't know. We're 0-3. Very well could be 3-0. I could sit here and talk about the O line and the D line all day. Oh, you can't catch quarterback.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We can touch now. I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but what did you think of the Cam Akers trade we made this week?
I thought it needed to be done.
I love it. I personally love it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, you get a 24-year-old running back for free, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can see anything, if he can see the field half as good as anybody else can, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
He knows KO's offense.
He's got the same measurables as Dalvin Cook when they both came out of college. Both ran a 4.3. Both went to Florida State. They
Cam
both
Akers
have
has
the
a
same.
higher vert.
They both have the same tendencies as a runner, and you're getting somebody essentially for free.
Why not?
And I would assume that he probably gets a good workload next week against Carolina. I bet that Dalton Risner just is creeping even more and more to overtaking Ed Ingram.
He has to. I mean, right now, if you sit there, what makes him start over Ingram as much as Cleveland? I mean, really, though, if you think about it, they've both been horrible. Mm-hmm. I mean, what makes it seem like Risner plays center and then he moves Bradbury to left guard or right guard? I mean, those 3 are so interchangeable.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Risner just needs to be given an opportunity.
What they should do is, honestly, next week, the offensive line should be Darisaw, Quessenberry at left guard, Bradbury, Risner, and O'Neal. Honestly. Quessenberry played good in Philly. Why not try him at guard? It can't be worse than what we have. Brando can play guard.
I'd rather have Brandel there.
It doesn't, have Quessenberry play center. Change it up.
Yeah, you need to fix something. You need to give Kirk time because Kirk's playing his ass off, and he's playing really well.
You have to change something. You have to.
And the only reason, going back to the whole, picking, we're going to pick a quarterback in the first round next year. We're just going to. It is what it is. If you don't want one, we're going to get one.
Okay, so I have another thing to ask you.
Okay.
So right now, I'm fully on the extend Kirk train, but if they pick a rookie quarterback, I'll be okay with it. But what makes you feel comfortable right now? If we use one of our valuable first-round picks on a quarterback and put him behind our dog crap offensive line, what's the difference? What's a J.J. McCartney, Caleb Williams going to do behind our offensive line right now that Kirk can't do?
The only thing that's
They're going to have no time, except they can run a little bit better than Kirk. But I don't want my rookie quarterback running every other play because he's feeling the pressure.
I'm not comparing their play styles or their attributes or whatever to each other. I'm just saying that Kirk, we're not going to be able to afford him. Because if we want to pay Jefferson, it's not going to happen if we pay Kirk, which is unfortunate.
Well, I don't know. I really do think that those two will figure it out because JJ wants to play with Kirk.
Well, I know.
And that's the thing. I would re-sign Kirk, and if it keeps Jefferson focused and wants to be here, rather than pick a quarterback, and I would use our first-round pick on a guard or a tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate how everybody now is like, tank for Caleb. Yeah, Caleb Williams would be awesome in Minnesota. That JJ Caleb Williams connection would be disgusting. It would be unreal.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pick Caleb Williams and put him behind the same offensive line that's failed Kirk the last 5 years. Because we're wasting the prime years of Kirk Cousins. I mean, we know every week that Kirk right now is good for 300 yards and 3 or more touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, that terrible, that last interception doesn't really count. I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to throw to the end zone at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not his fault that got tipped and intercepted. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like I love that we are going to look into getting a franchise quarterback, but we have to rebuild the offensive line before anything happens.
I
mean, you could have Derrick Henry in the backfield right now. I don't think he does anything because he's going to get hit immediately.
But why are we so scared of a rebuild? Honestly. Why are we?
You can't.
Why?
Because you paid Hawkinson. You paid everybody. Oh.
What?
Look who just got the pick.
Oh, Pat Pete.
I mean, I understand that, but what do you tell Jefferson? We're going to rebuild for the next 3 years? And we're just gonna waste 3 prime years. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna get the hell out of here.
Well, look at all these teams that have rebuilt. Philadelphia had to rebuild at one point. Niners had to rebuild. Miami had to rebuild. All these
Philly
teams
hasn't had to rebuild.
All these teams they were 9-7 like 3 years ago, and then they have Hurts and they trade for AJ Brown and they bring in all these assets.
You don't really, honestly, if you think about it, you don't have to rebuild that much.
Not much, but you do have to have a pick where you're in the top 10. You have to have a difference maker.
You just have to trade up.
You look at the Niners, it was Bosa. It was Trey Lance too, but we don't talk about that.
Well, I mean, look at our top 10 picks. Peterson hit.
Yeah.
Matt Khalil, whiff.
Well, that was a big whiff.
Christian Ponder, whiff.
That wasn't top 10, but whiff.
Top 12.
Yeah, Troy Williamson, whiff.
Whiff. I mean, I just don't want to, have a bad year and have Kwesi, because right now I don't trust Kwesi to pick the best player available. I mean, we're sitting here, me and you were sitting after a baseball game in the draft, and we're sitting there, we have Jameson Williams, which right now isn't looking great, but we have Kyle Hamilton or Tyler Linderbaum or Elijah Vera Tucker, and we traded out.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't trust Kwesi enough to have us be bad and then have us just whiff on a pick. That's what terrifies me.
Yeah.
Is I don't want to lose 18. Because 18 is a once-in-a-generational player.
Mm-hmm. Well, clearly Kwesi doesn't think that of him. Because he would have signed him already.
Well, how do you sit in your expensive suite up in the top of U.S. Bank Stadium and see Kirk just... Where's Jefferson? Just throw it to him. Doesn't have to worry about anything. If you get it remotely in his catch radius, he catches it. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you not see that and be like, oh, maybe we should re-sign that guy. He's kind of good.
Yeah.
We've known this for 3 years now. I mean, you're re-signing Hawkinson, great. But why is JJ not your number one priority? Mm-hmm. Like today when he went down, I was like, it's over.
Yeah.
If he would have blown his ACL there, it would have been, over. It would have been over. If Jefferson's not in this offense is half capable of doing anything as it is.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I look at these teams, right? And I look at Miami, and I look at the Niners, and I look at the Phillies.
Well, look what the Miami did. Miami didn't really rebuild through the draft. They just rebuilt it by trading their picks for impactful players.
Exactly.
That's what we need to do is just trade our picks for impactful players. I mean, honestly, find the Colts. See what we can, a first-round pick for Quentin Nelson. Restructure his deal. I mean... anything.
Yeah, I mean,
get a superstar center, a superstar right guard. That's all we need right now.
Well, it's also not that. It's that those teams know what kind of. I think the Vikings are a little bit in a identity crisis right now. And
they don't know what they want to do.
They don't know what they want to do. You look at Philly. Philly has established a big run game, and they love running the ball. That's why they have a great offensive line. You look at the Niners. They have a speedy offense. They have a pre-snap motion offense. The Shanahan offense, in my opinion, my favorite offense, I think the greatest offense in the NFL right now is the Shanahan offense, right? And then you look at Miami, speed. They have a bad offensive line like we do, but they get the ball out quick because they have Tyreek and Waddle, who both ran 4.3s.
And they had that running back.
And Mostert, who runs a 4.3. A-Chain runs a 4.3.
A-Chain's good as...
They all have guys who run sub 4.4 40s. Like,
speed kills.
The Vikings, though, they have a little bit of everything, but they don't know what to do. That's the thing. I know, I see.
God.
They don't know what they want to do. They try to run the ball first, but then they get behind, so they have to throw the ball a lot. And then you don't have an offensive line. You don't have nothing against Jefferson or Addison, but you don't have speedy guys to get the ball out to.
Pull up who's a free agent next offseason.
It's an identity crisis that the Vikings have to figure out. They don't know what kind of team they want to be.
Well, they have to be an offensive team because the defense right now doesn't have the pieces to be good.
No.
But I mean, and that's the other thing is like, we're sitting here. I'm right with Kwesi having 2 drafts, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, realistically, if Kwesi hits on half of his draft picks through 2 drafts right now, the defense could be rebuilt.
Yeah.
With impactful free agent signings. But it's not because Kwesi's whiffed.
Yeah.
Whiffed. Home run with Addison. Whiff. I mean, it sucks, but like, I know you're really high on Asamoah. Was he even active today? I'm being serious when I said that. Was he even active today?
Mm-hmm. Special teams.
I didn't even like. How does he go from last year being in a package for himself to get him on the field to this year not even like being a noticeable player?
Okay, so as far as a guard for next year, oh boy, ads. Stop. Let's see.
Nobody. Probably nobody. Risner's going to be free agent.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Really?
No, will he?
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so hard because you sit here and how does Kwesi and KO not have these conversations in May, in January after... Yeah. Because in January, when we lost to the Giants, it was the offensive line and the defense. And it's the same thing now. Mm-hmm. Your skill players aren't bad. That's not the problem. The running backs, you can't really get a good grasp on it because your offensive line is so bad that you can't run the ball. Like right now, KO and everybody wants to run the ball. You're going to run the ball behind that offensive line? Like how you can't.
No, you can't at all.
Chase Young's a free agent. That would be nice.
Yeah. So Mike Onwenu is Patriots guard. He's not many guards to choose from, but defensive. Why am I? Okay, I hate this site. Okay, but basically, like Christian Wilkins is up there.
Ryan Burns,
Leonard Williams, Brian Burns.
One of the premium defensive ends would be nuts too.
Yeah.
I really don't know. You can sit down here and talk about this crapshoot all night long. It's just I'm done. I mean, if you're gonna rebuild, if you want to fully commit to a rebuild, a quarterback this draft might not even be the best option. You need to rebuild that offensive line before you think about a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Because I don't feel comfortable getting. I love J.J. McCartney. I don't feel comfortable picking him and putting him behind our offensive line and be like, here you go.
Yeah.
Like, you have to rebuild the offensive line so he can come in here, have a good offensive line, and the receiving corps and the weapons he has, it would be just perfect. Yeah. But if you have an offensive line now, I think that the question of picking a quarterback is nowhere near. Because Kirk is going to be like...
No.
Kirk's going to be like, yeah, give me a team-friendly deal. You have an offensive line built around me. You have the weapons built around me. Why would I want to leave? Mm-hmm. But right now, Kirk's probably like, oh, San Francisco. They got a good offensive line.
Yeah.
Shanahan loves me. I mean, honestly, as good as Brock Purdy's played, I could see Kirk going to San Francisco and be like, yeah, I'll take a team-friendly deal. I want to win a Super Bowl. I mean, it's what it is.
Yeah. I know. I get what you're saying. I didn't think about that. Yeah, you can't pull a David Carr in Texans situation.
You can't. I mean, everybody's like, oh, quarterback. That's another one of those sexy picks. You pick a quarterback, sexy pick, and then next year at this exact time, you can be a one-win team and be discussing the same thing about how our rookie quarterback is getting shelled because the offensive line sucks.
Yeah.
And then the defensive line's getting no push because the Vikings picked a cornerback or something.
Like, I hate going back to Philly and admiring them, but that's the situation Jalen Hurts walked into. He walked into a good offensive line and able to succeed, and then they bring in the weapons as far as A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
We rebuilt backwards.
Yeah.
We did.
We already have our receivers established now. We just need to hit hard on offensive line.
Instead of Jeff Gladney, why don't you pick a guard? I mean, honestly, you just go back and you just think about, like, Zimmer loved Jeff Gladney. Why don't you just look, you pick Jefferson, pick a guard with him so they can come up together and you can have a premium receiver and a premium guard. It's just, it's every single time we sit here. It's every year you sit here and you're like, your offensive line sucks. And that's what makes your team good. You have a good offensive line, you can run the ball. If Kirk had a good offensive line, the play action would be dynamite.
Yeah,
you can't run play action right now because Kirk, by the time he would fake the handoff, he'd have a guy right in his back.
Yeah, because nobody's afraid of the run. You can't deceive the run if you have no run. As simple as that. You can't. The run sets up the pass and the play action, and if you have no run game, there is no pass game and there is no play action.
It's just not even like that. Like Zimmer would never pick interior defensive linemen. Rick and Zimmer would never pick defensive linemen. They would always pick like corners that would never pan out. I mean, it's not just like this year. It's been like this. It's been like this my entire life.
Yeah.
The Vikings haven't had a good offensive line since Favre.
True.
And we were what, 9 or 5?
Yeah.
When that was that. Now we're 19. That was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've had a bad offensive line since. As much as Ponder was bad, Ponder's offensive line was crap. I mean, it's just every single time you look back at a Vikings team, like 2017, the line was okay. It's not great.
No, not at all.
We've never been known as a good offensive line team. And that's what you need to do to get a QB to come in here and be awesome. Like if Kirk would, like I keep going back because Kirk, people always hate on Kirk. If Kirk had a good offensive line, we'd be a Super Bowl contender every year. And it wouldn't be a question.
Yeah. You guys wonder why 98 and 09 worked. 3 deep worked because Cunningham could sit back there for 5-6 seconds.
If you would give Kirk 6 seconds right now, it would with Jefferson and Addison, it would be, and TJ, it wouldn't be fair.
No.
You'd sit here and everybody Kirk's the reason we lost week 1. No. Kirk's the reason we lost week 2. Nope. No. Kirk's the reason we lost week 3. Well, you can tell what was it going to say there? Nope. Kirk is not the reason we're losing. And he's with a below-average offensive.
No, does Kirk have flaws? Yes, he does have flaws.
He does.
He's slow. When he steps up in the pocket, he usually checks down, and he's not fast. Get that. But
Kirk's a pocket passer, and Kirk doesn't have a pocket.
Right, but think about it. There's also this guy I know named Tom Brady, who, yes, I'm not comparing the two. I'm just comparing their build and their body and the way that they play.
And Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time.
The Patriots always protected Tom Brady because they knew that he wasn't a guy that was going to take off and run. And I think the Vikings are failing to realize that, Kirk doesn't do that. And you know what? He'll do it here and there, and it'll be a good chuckle, when he's running for 10 yards and getting a first down, getting absolutely decked by the linebacker. But it's not his cup of tea, and you shouldn't force him into that situation. You have to build around him and make him comfortable. I get it. Kirk is a guy who gets flustered very easily, I'm sure. And that's another flaw about Kirk. But if you take away those flaws as best as you can, it doesn't happen. And immediate pressure up in his face, Kirk can't go through his progressions. And then, yes, he will have to check down.
Kirk, or KO and Quincy want to run the ball. It doesn't work with your offensive line. It's just like, how do you not, if you let Cook go and you want to save money for him, why don't you put that money back into a guard? I mean, it's just like, again, I just don't get it. You could sit here. It's not even just the offensive line. It's the defensive line. It's the same story. They just run right by our defensive linemen. Like Jonathan Bullard, you're good, but you're a rotational piece. Like you said on Dean Lowry, rotational piece. Then why the hell are they playing every single snap on the defense? Harrison Phillips, rotational piece. Then why is he on the field 40%, 50%, 60% of the time defensively? I mean, like the guy the Saints picked from Clemson, that Brian Bresee, is that his name, right?
Bresee, yeah.
Yeah, he's a solid defensive lineman. Yeah. Like Kalijah Cansey, we seen him week 1. I think he had a sack, right?
Yeah, against us. Yeah.
I mean, it's never ending.
And a guy named Antoine Winfield too.
Jeff Gladney, we picked him over him, but that's not even like in that situation, in that pick, you don't need him.
No.
I mean, right now, Bynum's playing out of his mind.
Bynum is playing very well.
You cannot, go back there and be like, he doesn't deserve it. I mean, it's right now, if you think about it, this offseason, my 5 things would be extend Kirk. Not even extend Kirk right away. Fix the offensive line, fix the defensive line, extend Jefferson, and extend Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to do. You have 2 linebackers, both are studs. You need to get a corner. I mean, that's all you need to do. It's not that hard. Quasi, hit on your picks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we wouldn't have this conversation. If Andrew Booth was supposed to be so good, we traded up to get him. And he hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
Lewis Seen, big hitting, hard safety to play along Harrison. Well, he's getting outplayed by a 4th-round rookie.
It's just, I'm looking at my pre-draft
Don't look at the draft, Cam.
I am.
Do not look at the draft, please, Cam. It's September. This season's not over.
No, last
I mean,
draft.
we can sit here and be like, it's over, but it's not. It's just simply not.
I'm talking about last.
I mean, I love, like I said, I can keep going back to this. I love the Addison pick. Put a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman. I know the offensive linemen weren't there, but a defensive lineman wouldn't have been terrible.
No.
Receivers are easy to find, especially when you're playing opposite of 18.
Yeah.
18 makes everybody look good. He makes KJ Osborne look good. I mean, it's just, you rebuild backwards, and it hurts you in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and also, so if you're going to tank, you're going to trade, so you trade Kirk. You get the 1st-round pick from the Jets. And then when you put Jaron Hall behind this terrible offensive line, and you think he's going to do literally anything, and if you trade Kirk at the deadline, you lose 18.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well trade 18 there, too. And I'm not saying trade Jefferson, because if you trade Jefferson, you're an idiot. But, if you could get 3 first-round picks for Jefferson, why do you say no right now? I mean, if you want to rebuild, why would you say no? I mean, if they trade Jefferson, the Quasi's going to be a dead man walking.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, if they're thinking rebuild, you know they have to be thinking trade Jefferson and trade Kirk. Yeah. You know they have to be thinking that because they're like, well, they both are going to get big contracts, so why not trade them? I'm just saying. Like, Quasi's like... But then that's the thing, though, is with Quasi, is we trade those two, and we would get we'd miss on all of our picks.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd set ourselves back 5 years.
Yeah, you'd have to hit on those.
And they wouldn't. That's why I don't think you blow it up. The one guy I would say you can trade is Daniil. And I think that's very evident that you trade Daniil to deadline. Because by the deadline, he could have 10 sacks.
Yeah.
Get a first-round pick for him.
And the value would be insane.
Get a first-round pick for him and trade your 2 picks up and get your quarterback you want.
Mm-hmm.
Or stick and pick at 2 of the picks and pick defensive lineman, offensive lineman. I mean, get that good tackle from Ohio State. Make him a guard.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, though.
You got to do some. It's frustrating. I could predict who got the holding calls today. I'd say it every time, and it'd be Ingram. I mean, it's blatantly you'd see it. Yeah, you'd see it very easily.
I mean, when you're a defensive lineman, you have to lick your chops if you see Minnesota on the schedule.
Oh yeah.
Like Aiden Hutchinson, he's just gonna go. They're gonna if I was Dan Campbell, when they get ready for the Vikings,
I'd line Aiden Hutchinson right up over Ed Ingram.
Oh yeah, and just be like, oh well, yeah, here you go, because our tackles are good.
Yeah.
Our tackles are good, so he's not gonna beat us outside, or he's just gonna go inside.
Yeah. Exactly what we did to the Saints in that playoff game with Daniil and Everson. Exactly what they'll do.
I just don't. I sit here. I keep going over and over, but they rebuilt wrong. They always have rebuilt wrong, and it's just like Kirk is playing so well right now, and he's getting all the blame. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not about it.
It's not his fault at all.
I'm Kirk O'Chain's #1 supporter, and I always will be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, I know a couple of years ago you weren't a big fan of Kirk, and now I think you realize you're like, well, I mean, what else do you want him to do?
Yeah.
What else can he do with what he's given?
You finally realize that he just doesn't have any time to do anything. You know, and you got to realize that his play style is his play style, but he gets it done. You know, he had one brain fart moment today, and it was unfortunate. You know, it was unfortunate that he didn't think, oh, maybe I should spike the ball and get the team going.
But other than that, he played so well today. Again,
367 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, what more can you do? Oh yeah, Justin Herbert, 405.
If you put anybody behind their offensive line, they're gonna. I mean, you can't really get better than what Kirk's doing.
Look at somebody like Joe Burrow, who gets all this praise, right? And I think Joe Burrow is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL. He doesn't get any time. But he also got just paid the biggest bag in NFL history and hasn't done anything.
That's why I think everybody thinks that Kirk's going to be gone. But if Kirk goes to the front office and be like, I'll take a team-friendly deal if you figure out the interior offensive line.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, Kirk, you sit down and be like, all right, pay Jefferson, pay the offensive line, and I'll re-sign for a team-friendly deal just like Tom Brady did. We're golden.
Yeah.
And then after that, use the draft for all defensive guys.
Yeah.
And guards and
the offense is
center.
set. You don't need it. You don't need to touch the offense at all.
In April, if they pick with their 7 or 8 picks or how many picks they have, and they pick all interior offensive line, wouldn't even be mad.
No.
Would not be mad.
Because our skill players are set.
All they need to do
set.
in April, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, defensive lineman,
Yeah.
corner. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
And then you need, granted, like right now, because Harrison's kind of like going off. I mean, we know that. But if you can get Lewis Seen to take Harrison Smith's role and have Bynum and Seen, you go get a corner in the offseason, you fix the D line and the interior offensive line. Next year, you're a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that hard. If you keep Kirk back there and you give him time, you're fine.
Right, and like you said before, you trade Daniil at the deadline. If all hell goes loose, you use that first rounder. Why don't you go get somebody like Pat Surtain or something like that? A young, solid corner.
Sweet.
Or
you
go
Sauce
get some.
Gardner. Oh,
well, they're not going to give up Sauce, but the Broncos are absolutely going down a hellhole right now. And like somebody like Surtain or some competent corner.
Mullen.
Or Tariq, well, yeah, that's another one that's kind of like,
Just say it. Like, I agree. I agree with that.
No, yeah.
Or you trade, if you want that premier quarterback, you trade your 2 picks up.
Yeah, you have to.
And you call Arizona or Chicago and be like, we'll give you 2 picks for that.
You have to play the card like Miami does. You have to do it. You have to trade someone away and then trade for somebody else who's younger.
Yeah, and then that's what you have to do because you don't, right now, I don't trust Quasey to hit on his picks.
No, Quasey should do himself a favor and realize, well, I can't draft, I can't scout, I can't do any of this.
I'm just going to trade it for talent now.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, right now, the defense, they look terrible right now, but they don't have that many holes. It's just where they have holes, the holes are so deep.
Yeah.
Like, the defensive line is so bad.
It's blatantly obvious.
But, I think the one thing I will say is if the season goes sideways, you could trade Jordan Hicks and let Pace and Asamoah just both develop, and you have 2 stud linebackers underneath their rookie contracts for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then you go, and then next year, if Harrison comes back, he has a smaller role. You have Bynum, and hopefully Seen can get... Actually, Metellus. I don't even know why I didn't say his name.
Yeah.
Metellus.
Him,
and then
Jay Ward.
I guess I thought at the beginning of the year I was worried that Brian Flores was going to do such a good job that he was going to be gone next year. He's going to be...
Oh, he'll be back. He'll be back. Yeah.
And if you give him the keys to the draft, and you'd be like, here you go, not Asamoah, but Flores, you have the last 4 picks we have. Pick your guys that you want. We will stay out of it. Because I think Mekhi Blackman was his pick, and he is going to be a stud.
Yeah, he will be.
He is good. He's undersized. Put him in the slot. Teach him how to be a slot corner. He will be a great slot corner. It's just... Caleb Evans, you're awesome, but if you could go out and get a Pat Surtain and put him opposite Byron Murphy, so they have to throw out Byron Murphy because he's the weaker corner, that's a completely different story.
It's not like Byron. Like, Byron's not bad, but there are times where, yes,
today, he got burnt by a 35-year-old Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen definitely got the best of him today.
Come on.
But he did shut down A.J. Brown last week,
I know. And he shut down Mike Evans.
Yeah, pretty solidly.
It's just... the one other thing I thought of today's game was, where the hell is Quentin Johnson?
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything.
No, but he doesn't have to, clearly.
Well, now that Mike Williams is probably done for the year, he's going to probably have to do something.
Also, the amount of screens that the Chargers ran today was insane.
Everything worked.
But it worked. Don't fix it if it ain't broken.
That took you a while to spit
I know
out.
it did. That was tough.
I don't know. It's just... I don't want to give up on this year because our division is crap. And you only have to... It's just like the Twins. You just have to win your division and you're in the playoffs. And you get a home playoff game. And it's just... You get in, anything can happen.
Yeah, it's not like yes...
right now, Quasey, if you're sitting there, Quasey has to be on the phone with teams like, well, yeah, I need your guards available. I need your centers available.
It's also, it's not like he hasn't done this before. Like, around this time last year, he got TJ. You know, like, Quasey's not afraid to do that. You know, if he just did that more often,
Trade
then,
your second-round pick for a center or a guard.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, though, because the season's not over yet.
No.
If you lose to Carolina, it's over. Pack it in, you're done. I mean, I know we said that about this week, but I just looked into it more. You can't give up, and I don't want to tank because you only have 17 Sundays a year.
Yeah.
You get to watch football, you get to watch the Vikings.
Yeah, then you gotta wait.
You get to watch your favorite team. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah. I think that they gotta do a better, and I mean, going forward, right now they can only do what they can do with what they have. But going forward,
wait, what next week? Like, I think I texted you, I'm like, I'm excited for Sunday, but I'm excited for next week because our new toys are unleashed. In Akers and Risner.
Yeah.
I mean, if Risner's, like, awesome, he solves half the problems on the offensive line, we could easily just go on a heater. Mm-hmm. And if I think Cam Akers is going to be a lot bigger pickup than many people think.
No, yeah, it's
because
definitely
he is a beast.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely an under the radar trade, but like,
I mean, what do you give up a 6th-round pick
Yeah.
for a capable running back if he has to get 500 yards, which I think he will.
Yeah.
Because I think at a certain point he's just going to take Madison over.
Yeah, well, it's total scrimmage yards too, so it's both receiving and rushing.
Who cares? I mean, it's a 6th-round pick. Quasey can't hit on the pick anyway.
No, yeah.
I mean, look at half the guys from the year before
They
got
already
quit.
traded Vidarian Lowe,
Then a Swezi Atamu
who's
got
starting
cut, too.
for the Patriots now. Yeah.
Swezi Atamu, the old golfer, he got cut. He was like a 5th-round pick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if it goes all bad, I mean, are we going to ever see Byron, or not Byron, but Andrew Booth Jr.? Like, is he ever going to...
No, and like Quasey just needs to realize that, you know what?
Tage Thompson's going to start over. Or Najee Thompson.
Najee Thompson's going to get on the field before him. And Najee Thompson we kept for a special teams purpose, which I haven't really seen that guy do anything for special teams.
Also, special teams, Ryan Wright has had a rough
Ryan
start.
Wright has not been the Ryan Wright we know.
No, he'll get back to it. I mean, we're using him more than we need to, though.
Yeah, he'll be all right. He had a touchback today, and you don't see that often from him, so that's a good sign that, you know, you point that out. But, yeah, it's just tough, and we just simply need to do better. When I saw us turn over the ball again today, it really
What do we have,
grinded my
3
gears.
turnovers today?
Just 2.
Well, Madison almost had like 4 fumbles.
Yeah, Madison got blown out by so many whistles that it could have been 4 today again. Yeah.
They're going to turn the ball over 50 times this year.
It's going to be a lot if it just stays this way.
Well, 8 through 3 games. We play 17 of them.
Yeah. So, I don't know. You gotta fix things. And you had 10 days, and you come out like that.
I mean, that's the other thing. It's like, you have 10 days, you know that. Why don't you saw Risner on Monday night, or right after that Philly game?
Yeah.
Sign him and be like, here you go, here's the offensive playbook, get ready for the Chargers, because you're starting.
Like, why did it take them almost a week to do that? Like, I think it was, Wednesday we signed him or whatever?
Tuesday.
And
then his first day
it almost
was
took
Wednesday.
us a week to sign him.
I don't know. I really don't know. Hopefully next podcast is a little bit more joyful.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't like one win isn't going to change the stuff we've talked about.
When we get back to 500, I will maybe.
I mean, honestly though, if you can go into Carolina and just kill them, put up a 40 burger and hold them to like 20 and just blow them out, and go home and beat Patrick Mahomes at home, everything changes.
Yeah, you might spark a little faith in the fan base.
No, you spark a can't. You know the way we are as fans. If we win 2 back-to-back games and then you play the absolute dumpster fire Bears, win.
You're back 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
Season starts over again.
You should. There's no reason you should not sweep the division this year, I think.
No, yeah. I mean,
Hey,
the Packers.
Green Bay, come on.
Packers.
Love they got a handy win today. They won because Derek Carr got hurt.
Yeah.
And they were losing 17-0 when Derek Carr was in. Like,
The Lions aren't
now.
impressive. The
No.
Bears are a dumpster fire.
Like, the Bears are terrible.
They're ass. I'm sorry. They're just they can never get it right. So yeah, there should be no reason, but you know what? The
If you sweep the division, you pretty much win the division.
Yeah, our division is horrible.
Exactly.
It's bad.
That's why I don't get, like, everything on Twitter right now is like, just tank and take Caleb Williams. We're not bad enough to be where we need to be for a good quarterback.
Yeah, well, that's a good catch.
We're just not bad enough.
Yeah. Also, NBC needs to do a better job of scheduling Sunday night games.
How many Sunday night games are we on? 2? 3?
Packers on New Year's Eve.
We're going to that game, right?
Yeah.
Broncos.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go to that game. That's the thing, though, is I still want to go to games, even though they're bad, because games are so much fun to go to.
Yeah.
Like that Buccaneers game, we had so much fun, even though we lost.
Yeah. Like, I contemplated going to today's game with Bryson, but I just had a bad feeling that, like, things were just not going to go.
I mean, I think if they can get back to 3-3, I think everything will be back. You get back to 3-3, you're right back in the playoff conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Even 2-3 or 2-4.
You still, that's not even half the season right
Exactly. There. That's why everybody's like giving up. I'm kind of giving up, but I always give up. I'm negative. But you just got to keep going, honestly. You can't. I mean, you're just going to have to hope Kirk doesn't get put in the body bag by the end of the year.
Oh, he's
going to get hit over 200 times this year.
One tough guy.
I mean, and I also will say this. When Jefferson went down today, I thought he tore his ACL.
Dude,
I was about to take my jersey off and be like, I'm done. I mean, it's over.
Yeah.
It is over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hawkinson just went down just to give the team a breather. But Jefferson, that literally scared me to death. Because I'm like, yeah, we can just pack it in.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's all I got.
I think I'm done with my rant. I think I had to
we have to say this. Sean Payton, how's it going in Denver, buddy?
How's it feel? Huh?
I love you, Sean Payton. No,
Huh?
I don't. 70 points, Sean Payton? Wow. We thought it was bad here in Mini, but wow.
70.
All right.
My goodness.
That's all I
He
needed
even
to
said
say.
the Tua was going to get benched at one point. He did get benched
Yeah,
because of your sorry-ass defense.
I thought it was funny that he was like calling out Nathaniel Hackett, like you set the franchise back, and then look at what's going on now.
Yeah, Sean Payton's just the caboose. He's just He's just along for the ride, is all. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. Ev, where can you find our audio podcasts?
Apple Music and Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Most
follow
popular
our social medias at Bold North Sports. That's on Instagram. TikTok is Bold North Sports .podcast. That's where you'll see all of Bryson's clips. And then we're gonna make a Facebook. And then we actually tweeted on our Twitter account today, if you guys seen that.
I did tweet one thing, and it's just because it pissed me off a lot. And it actually got a lot of views. It got a lot of views right away.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's really all we got. Hopefully next week's podcast is a little bit more joyful and happy after we kill the Panthers.
Maybe no Bryce Young next week. We'll see.
No, if Bryce Young doesn't play and we lose, I will burn all my Viking stuff. All right, well, that's all we got. And we will see you next time